and welcome to Wanjiro Space. I am Wanjiro Mungai. Do you sometimes feel like your teen is pulling away from you? Or maybe there is some tension between you and the teen? Or maybe you think there is tension in the family that is causing him to look like he doesn't want to be part of you anymore? We shall be discussing about your teen today. Are they alone or are they lonely? Every parent gets concerned about a teenager because raising a teenager is not easy. Because if you talk to parents, they'll tell you, I don't know what is happening to my child these days. Sometimes you don't know whether we have upset them. You do not actually know how to behave around a teenager sometimes. Being even their own parent, even teachers, let's be honest. I don't mean to accuse anyone, but we call them Form 2s. Not terrible 2s are the little ones, but now again, when you go to Form 2, everybody is like, how is the Form 2 behaving? We are not saying they are bad kids. It's just a stage that everybody talks about because teenage must happen. We were teenagers once. So when your teenager is in his room or her room like half the day or all day, you get concerned. You're thinking, are they too alone or are they lonely? So what do? They look at you like, oh no, it's the other way around. You're looking at that kid and thinking, I'm taking care of your every need. I take you to school, I clothe you, I feed you. Of course, you live in my house, and now you do not want to talk to me? Is that even fair? Really? And the child is looking at you and thinking, Mom, Dad, you keep telling us about the stories of your youth. Don't you remember that teenage is not easy? You went through teenage, Mom. You should understand. So they wonder, you are the adult. Please, you may even explain some of these things that I'm going through. So teenage is hard. You are thinking, yes, you have to fend for these children, but they feel like you're also not being considerate enough when you look like you want to accuse them of not wanting to talk to you. Because teenage is a hard stage of life, stage of development, let me say so. So parents, it's quite normal for a teen to feel like they want some time alone. You know why? It's a very important stage of their development. Because they ought to also know how to navigate some of these things. This stage of life is really hard for them. You should only be concerned if maybe your child is bubbly and suddenly they are pulling away, they are too quiet, then something could be happening to that child. But if your child is normally not that outgoing person, if they are introverted, then there is no cause for worry because they're just being themselves. Do you know, you might be so worried. You are there thinking, what is happening to this child anymore? And the child is absolutely okay and very happy with themselves. Because I'll tell you something, when you are introverted, you really enjoy your company. So when you are alone, that's when you have all the energy. But for the extroverted person, they need the other people around them to be energized. So now you really have to understand the personality of your child. Of course, you know your baby. You brought them up since the time they were born. So if you do understand what kind of personality they have, then you won't have to worry so much that this one now does not talk to us, or this one now looks like they are very, very lonely. You can be in a crowd, and very lonely. Now that's a red flag. You can be alone, like we've just said, in your room. Even for us adults, Sometimes you just want to be alone, but you are okay. Maybe you want to think about something, or maybe you just want to re-energize. So for the teenager, when they do not want to talk, allow them that me time. It is okay. All right? Because sometimes they also need to get away from, did you know social life for a teenager can be so crazy for them? Sometimes they just need to be away from the friend and from you as a family, to just be in their own space. Because you know, when you are in this crowd, you know, you have to you have to participate, and you're thinking, I don't have the energy to, to respond to what they are doing, what everybody is doing. But when you get away from the crowd, you do not have to answer to anybody. You don't have to feel responsible for, I have to say ABCD, I have to, agree or not agree. When you're just by yourself, there's no pressure. So it's a nice time to just have that alone time. So mom, dad, don't worry. Your teen is okay when they need to be by themselves to re-energize and maybe a bit of rejuvenation. But they are lonely if this child, like we said, is a type that talks, but suddenly they've pulled off from the family. They don't want to eat with the rest of the family. They don't go to see their friends, yet they are the type that likes to see their friends. You should be concerned if that is happening. But ordinarily, a teen needs some time by themselves because life is just a little hard at teenage. Okay, we asked, Mom, Dad, why are you not a teenager? Don't you want to relate to what I'm going through right now? But I think, to be honest, the times that your mothers lived and your fathers lived and the time you're living now is totally different. So your teen is living during the era of the internet, social media. I can tell you for free, this puts a lot of pressure on these children. And of course they would wonder, like, there's all the fear why they do these things. Some kids are shy and they are thinking, what if I say the wrong thing and then I'll be judged by everybody on social media, What if my clothes are not trendy like the rest of them? What if I don't come from the right family? What if I don't go to the right schools? They have all these concerns. We could say a lot more on what if they say this about me. But now it is for us as parents, when you notice that your child is a little withdrawn, you can call them aside or just walk into their room. I'm sure they'll allow you in. Kindly knock. These people also have their own privacy. I am serious about this one. And when they let you in, then you can slowly ask what's happening. Don't go with that accusing voice. No. In fact, you don't make it look like it's a big deal that now let's have this talk. No. Just go calmly. You might just be like you're sharing something that you think they like. Can even carry some snack and share. And as you share the snack, you might just ask one question like, hey, I notice ABCD, and it shall surprise you that they actually want to talk to you, because maybe what they are going through is something they would want to discuss and share, and they've not had somebody to tell, and you should be the first person they trust. So parents, if your child tells you about the concern they have, about maybe even feeling rejected or not fitting in, not belonging, to a certain group, the peers, then it's for you to encourage them and support them so that it does not get to that stage of feeling lonely. So it's okay to be alone as long as you're not lonely, but it can also be you are alone because there is a problem with your peers, which also is a red flag. But more often than not, alone may be okay, but lonely is not okay, because it can lead to also so many other things. We should be concerned if your child has changed. maybe their moods. Every time you talk to them, they sound irritable. Maybe they lose interest in things they used to just love. Maybe they love to even play the usual game they don't want to play. We know a lot of kids love the video games they don't want to play. So you think something is amiss. They're not taking care of their grooming. A child who was once very tidy doesn't even care about his looks, her looks anymore. There are many signs we can look out for, and that could be an indicator of depression. And we are not saying that any child who is alone or feeling a bit lonely is depressed, but it can be a sign if you observe what I've just talked about. So for you, just be on the lookout. If they want their me time, give it. Na usimkemee mtoto, don't. Even if you need them to talk to you, be nice, and they'll be nice. They'll be nice right back. So don't be like, oh, I have done ABCD. Children are so ungrateful. Oh, you don't appreciate. Oh, I'm struggling so hard. And what do? Don't do that. And they'll be in turn so nice. They appreciate. And you see, at the stage they are at, teenage, like we have said, is hard. It's tough being a teenager. I think even without the internet and the social media, like we said, which we didn't have, we also had the challenges of teenage. You're thinking, why can they just understand I want to go and see my friends? Why can they understand that I want this for my birthday? Why can they understand that I need, all these things? Teenagers have needs that sometimes parents do not understand. But when we try a little more to put ourselves in their shoes, then we won't have to worry so much that they are being too much alone or too lonely. I wish you the very best with your teenagers. I will self-disclose. I have been a mother to a few teenagers. And it's not been easy, but even those times when you have you could call it ups and downs a little, it's been a time for growth. So it's good. And I think after you go through it, you look back and laugh, even with the kids. So it's a nice thing to talk about. And so I want to encourage the young mothers who have teenagers at this very time, that it doesn't have to be all gloomy and having fights every other day with your teenager. It can be an exciting time. You have my best wishes. I'll stop here today. Thank you so much for watching Wanjiro Space. Continue please to subscribe for those who have not. Hit the notification bell, like I always say, and leave a comment so we may know things that we can improve on. It will help me. And until the next video, goodbye.